name is Suri Deitch, and I'm the Dean of the Tulane School of Professional Advancement, or SoPA as we call it. And I'm just here to welcome you to this webinar this evening. My colleagues, Sheila Gold and Hope Anderson, are going to be presenting, but I just wanted to say how glad we are that you're considering SoPA for the next steps in your education, and to ask if you would put in the chat at the bottom of the screen your name and where you're calling in from, and if you know the program you're interested in. And then if you feel like it, we're always curious to know when was the last time you were in school? If it was last semester, or if it was 20 years ago. Everyone is welcome at our school. And we have, I always like to say, we have the most diverse student body at Tulane University by far, which includes students from literally age 17 to 77. And so we're really excited that you're thinking about joining our community. So I'll stay on for another minute because I'm curious to see if you don't mind putting some information in the chat at the bottom. Again, your name, where you're calling in from, program, and if you feel like it, the last time you were in school. And with that, I'll hand things off to my colleagues. Thanks so much again for joining us.
Thanks, Suri. Hi, everybody. Welcome. In the chat on the bottom, we just dropped in a couple welcomes, so you can see where those are and just reply. Sorry, you can see everybody's starting to put some of their names and where they're from in. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about SoPA, who we are, the history of the school, sort of where we sit within the larger university. We're going to talk about the programs that we offer, the student support that we offer, how we feel like that's a differentiator between SoPA and some other schools that you may be looking at. And then we're going to also talk to you about our application process, some deadlines, and then answer any questions that you might have. So keep putting your information in the chat. We really appreciate it. Also, the chat is the way that you can ask any questions. So if you want to drop questions in the chat, we'll respond to those during the webinar as well. So a little bit about SoPA, which is our name for the School of Professional Advancement. A little bit about Tulane in general. Tulane University itself was founded in 1834 as the Medical College of Louisiana. It was founded in response to the yellow fever epidemic in the mid-1800s. As a way to educate medical professionals to respond to that epidemic. Here we are in another epidemic again. What goes around comes around. It's very strange. But what is important for you to know is that 1834, the school started, and then 50 years later, which is not a very long time, the very first iteration of the School of Professional Advancement was founded. And essentially, it began offering classes to adult learners in the New Orleans community. So as opposed to medical classes, what it did is it said, we have this community here in New Orleans. There might be professionals or adult learners who don't traditionally go to school at 18 years old, but may have been working and want to come back to school. We should open our doors to our own community to educate them and give them a Tulane degree. So we've been doing this for over 130 years. We feel like we're pretty good at it, and we're going to share with you tonight some of the things that we do that we feel like are special and offer our students an extremely great educational experience. Some of the things we're going to touch on is our online learning. The reason we're going to talk about that, in the undergraduate space, what you all are looking at is undergraduate degrees. We offer both on-ground in-classroom experiences, but also online classes. And we were doing this before COVID. So we actually have some exceptionally great online classes that we offer our students. And we will talk about that in a minute. But why we talk about that in the undergrad space is because we found that some of our undergraduate learners enjoy the online classes they're cool and fun, but also they're easier to get to sometimes. So if you are working a full day and you're taking classes at night, sometimes it's easier just to go home, eat a peanut butter sandwich and log on to your class as opposed to driving to campus. Some students really like the on campus. You could do that too. And then some folks like to do a hybrid of the both. So that's why we talk about both of those during this webinar. We talk about our student support. We're going to talk about some of the options. My colleague Hope is going to talk about some of the options to afford your education. And then, of course, all of this is wrapped up in a Tulane degree. And so we feel like when our students graduate with a Tulane degree and they put that on their resume, it tends to get them jobs. So we want to talk about that as well. So a little bit about our online and in-person learning. So like I said, we offer a combination of both to our students. So you have the flexibility to do a little bit of both, or you can do one all one way and one the other. We feel like our online learning is exceptional. So let me tell you about our online learning. So we employ at SoPA an entire department of what are called instructional designers. And I don't know if you all are familiar with what instructional designers are, but these are educators, master's level educators. So instead of getting their master's degree in education to teach, they got their master's degree in instructional design. And what that means is they take curriculum that's normally taught in a classroom where a teacher stands at the front of the classroom and you sit in little desks, and they imagine how to create an interactive learning experience for our students who take courses online. And we really do an exceptional job. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But our students find that they end up loving the online classes. They're engaging. You have an opportunity to meet other students, to interact with them, to create relationships. And they also find that it might be better for their learning styles. Some people do better if they engage and interact with the material as opposed to sit and being lectured at. So we find that our students really appreciate having the option of both on ground and in person. Next, please. So here's some examples of our online learning. So the first one is a virtual space. So in many of our classes, students can actually create an avatar for themselves. And in the metaverse, which I'm sure you all have heard of, which is sort of a simulated universe, they can actually interact with a lot of the scenarios that they're learning. So as opposed to reading about maybe, a management situation or working with a client or, having to deal with a scenario, you can actually walk through and interact with the scenario and learn about different options and interact and learn that way. So it's really, really fun. Another way that we make our learning a little different in the online space is through podcasts. So instead of maybe having to read a couple chapters, there might be a lesson that's actually recorded on a podcast, and you can listen to it in your car while you're exercising, while you're cooking dinner, and you can do it in small little snippets. So 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, listening to the podcast. It's just a very different way to deliver curriculum than the traditional sit in the classroom and listen to a professor. So it is fun and different, and it is not just flipping through PowerPoints. I want to be very clear about that. So those are just two examples. Next, please. So what we also feel like is different about SoPA as opposed to other classes is that our faculty are actually practitioners in the fields in which they teach. So what that means is that they actually do the work that they teach. So I'll give you two of the four examples that are up on the screen. So Tyra Mitchell has her doctorate in physical therapy. And she is actually one of our professors. She's actually the assistant director of our kinesiology program. So if any of you all are interested in health and wellness or exercise science, Tyra is the assistant director, but she is a doctoral level physical therapist. So she's not just teaching from theory, she's teaching from actually doing it. Ralph Russo is the program director of our cyber and IT programs. And Ralph is a former NYPD officer, but he actually started their cybersecurity and intelligence program at NYPD after 9/11. So he started that whole program, and he has brought in professors who do that same work. So you actually learn from people who do this type of work. So it is a little bit different. You get very real world experience in your classrooms, and all of our professors are like that. Next, please. So here's just a couple quotes from some professors who teach. So Amanda Fennell is in our IT program. She's the Chief Information Officer at Relativity, which is a cyber firm. And she said, as a cybersecurity leader, I feel it vital to prepare our professionals through practical experience, which is why I incorporate my day job into my classes at night. And that's a perfect way that we can explain what our faculty do. They incorporate their day job into the classroom and give that information to you all. So that's a little bit great. Tamar Gregorian is she's one of our professors of practice, and she coordinates our PR program. She said, in a society where media is so pervasive and ever changing, I think it's vital for students to learn the problem solving skills necessary to create strategic, innovative, cultural, and socially significant communication solutions. So she's out there in the PR world, but she's bringing that expertise into the classroom and into the curriculum. So that, I think, is a little bit different than a professor that just teaches all day, but isn't really like making those connections between the professional world and the curriculum. Next, please. So these are the bachelor's degrees that we offer at SoPA. They're either Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Sciences, but we offer them in digital design, digital media and marketing communications, exercise science, general legal studies, health and wellness, homeland security studies, humanities, which is very broad. So humanities, you can take any courses in the humanities, which are communications, history, art history, English, all of those sort of humanities-based courses. You can get a bachelor's and kind of pick and choose the classes that you want. A bachelor's in information technology, public relations. Social sciences is similar to humanities in that you can pick and choose the courses you want, but they're all in social sciences. So political science, psychology, sociology, those types of courses. Organizational behavior and management studies is a very broad term for actually business courses. And then human resources, which is also business courses with a focus on HR. So those are our bachelor's degrees. We offer several certificates. And so these are for folks who don't want to go and get a full bachelor's, but maybe just want to take a cluster of courses that will give you in-depth knowledge in a very specific area. So accounting fundamentals, advertising, applied business studies, digital marketing, digital media marketing communications, HR, public relations, or small business development. That's just a cluster of courses, but not a whole degree. We also offer what are called post-baccalaureate certificates. These are a little different in the sense that you already have to have a bachelor's degree to get admitted into these programs, but they give you in-depth expertise that you can add on to your bachelor's. And we offer those in early childhood and secondary ed, graphic design, interactive design, paralegal studies, K through 12 education, and teaching English learners. So you can ask some questions about those later if you're interested. Next slide, please. So one of the things that we do, because we cater specifically to adult learners, we know that many of you all have been working out in the professional world for many years, and you actually might have in-depth knowledge in a lot of different areas. So what we try to do is give you credit towards your degree in certain areas. So if you're ever taking a course and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to take, like a cyber course, but I've been working in that area for the last 5 years. I already have that knowledge. you can go to your advisor and say, look, the syllabus says we have to know these 3 or 4 things by the time we finish this course. I can actually tell you, I already have that knowledge because I've been working in this field. Your advisor will work with you to demonstrate through either a written paper, what we call a portfolio. You'll have to demonstrate through different ways, maybe a conversation with your professor in addition to a paper, that you already have that expertise, and you'll be able to get credit for that course. You can do that for up to 24 credits, which is the equivalent of 8 classes. So if you feel like you're coming in with knowledge and you can demonstrate that, then you can actually move towards your degree much more quickly. And so that's something that we do to work with adult learners. We also give credit for military training. We also give credit for some first responder training. There's lots of different ways that you can try and demonstrate your knowledge. So hopefully that's a way that'll save you time and money towards your bachelor's degree. Another thing that we think is a differentiator between us and other schools is our student support. So what we like to let you know is we're not just committed to having you all get admitted to SoPA, but we're committed to having you all graduate. We feel like once you're here and you're part of the SoPA family, we're going to give you all the support that you need to have you be successful. That's incredibly important to us. So we offer our own career advising. We don't share our career advisor with any other part of the university. So they can help you learn about different jobs that are out in the community. We can, does this exclude professional certificates and courses? Yeah, we don't apply Coursera courses towards our degree. Like we can't give Tulane credit for a Coursera course. But if you've taken Coursera courses and worked in a specific field, you can use that as part of demonstrating your knowledge towards getting credit for it. So it's not like you can't transfer a Coursera course, but you can use that as part of your argument and put it in your portfolio to demonstrate knowledge. Okay, so our career advisor, they can help you with your LinkedIn page, with your resume, and with helping you find jobs. We also you will have 2 different advisors. You will have an academic advisor and a major advisor. Your academic advisor can help you pick courses. They can help you decide how many courses to take each semester. And your faculty advisor can help you sort of navigate the whole program and help you when it comes time to graduation and finding a job. Also, they can help link you up with professionals out in the field who might have internships available and jobs that are available. All right, I am going to zip it so you don't have to listen to my voice anymore and turn things over to my colleague Hope, who can talk to you about affording your degree and applying to our program.
Good evening, and thank you all for taking time out of your schedule to join us. I know the sacrifice you're making to be a part of this webinar tonight. I am the admissions counselor, and I'm also a SoPA alumni. Like you, I decided one day it was time to return to school and pursue my education. Some of the questions I had is, how can I afford this? How can I fit this in my schedule? How can I, make this fit for my family? Well, in terms of the affordability, SoPA's tuition is, it's lower than, I would say, a lot of schools in the area. Currently, our tuition is $596 per credit hour, and the majority, if all of the courses that SoPA offer, are 3 credits only. And another thing that offsets our tuition costs is that we offer scholarships for multiple populations to offset those costs. Some of those, just to mention a few, are first responders, There's scholarships, 20% scholarships for those first responders, teachers, military family, veterans, and active duty PTK members, like Theta Kappa members, minority serving institution members, or just to name a few. As Sheila was mentioning a few minutes ago, not only does the credit for prior learning help you get to your degree quicker, it also is a method of offsetting your tuition costs. Because if you're eliminating taking 3 to 5 classes, then of course you've reduced a certain amount of money that you would have paid toward tuition. Also, our fees are minimal. The majority of our fees, our student activity fees, which is $12 per credit. And then the academic support, that is $60 currently for a semester, and the student activity fee is $12. That does not exceed $48. Some courses will have additional fees, and that's all for technological support. But in class schedule, you're always notified which of those classes those fees, extra fees, will be assessed to. Next slide. Applying is simple. Applying is simple. I say that because I work with the application every day, all day. Some things may not be clear to you, and I'm here to walk you through this process. The main requirements to get through this process is you must complete the application before the deadline. There's a $40 application fee, and you're attending this webinar tonight, so Ms. Gold will give you more information about that, but your application fee will be waived for attending. You must submit a updated government issued ID, driver license, passport, state ID, and again, updated. Transcripts. When you first start your application process, you can upload an unofficial copy, meaning you can have a copy of your transcript on hand and you can scan it and upload that transcript. We can use that to determine your admission. But once we decide that you are admissible, in order to continue on or register for classes, the applicant must reach out to the current or the previous universities they attend and have their transcripts physically mailed to us or emailed to us directly to make them, and that's when we recognize official transcripts. So our application deadline, we're currently in the spring semester. Our deadline was January 1st. It's really important that you don't start that application process January 1st. Like, I recommend at least a month in advance. So many different scenarios can occur while you are going through that admission process. Some students are like, when we're going through the process, they learn that even though they didn't attend the school for very long, those schools are still being recognized as they attend. And so we have to, at that point, notify you, and you scramble to get the transcripts in. So a variety of things can happen, and that's why I am suggesting starting at least a month to 2 months before the deadline. Another reason that it's important or a good idea to start your application process early, because another way that SoPA helps offset the tuition costs is if you register by December 1st for the spring semester. Each semester there's a different deadline. and that very first semester you attend, then you are given a $200 scholarship. Like I said, just another way to offset the tuition costs. So if throughout this process you have any questions about the application process, please do not hesitate to give me a call and we can walk through the process one step at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Hope. So my email is on the screen in front of you. There's also a phone number. I actually tell people, don't call me. I'm not at my desk consistently, but I'm always in front of my email, sgold@tulane.edu. If you have any questions during this process, please email me. We like to get to know our students. We also feel like that is a little bit of a differentiator between us and other schools, is that we're not so big that we don't know our students. We like to get to know you. We like to create relationships. And I feel like the admissions process is the beginning of us getting to know each other. So definitely reach out if there's any questions. If you have any questions that you want to drop in the chat right now, you can. You don't have to. There's been a few that I've responded to, and you don't have to. Some people don't like chatting in public. But you definitely should reach out if you have questions along the way. Tomorrow, you'll be receiving a follow-up email from me. It will have my email address in it as a reminder. So if you don't write it down right now, that's okay. It'll also have a video of this webinar. If you want to watch it again or share it with a friend, you can do that. So we will be reaching out to you. And for those of you who have already applied and paid your application fee, just email me and tell me that you paid your fee and I can refund it to you. It will take several days to get refunded back to your account, but I'm more than happy to refund it. So yes, and we will need a transcript from every college where you received college credit or attended. Yes. And sending them electronically is our preferred method, but if your college doesn't do that and they send it by US mail, that is fine as well. All right, so that concludes our webinar. We are thrilled that you all were with us tonight. We certainly hope that we will see your application and that we will be welcoming you as a student to Tulane soon. What if you have a degree? Would you only need the No, we need transcripts from each school, especially if you're going to be transferring credit. But we for sure need transcripts from each school. Okay, great. All right. Well, everybody, thank you. I attended the Zoom yesterday and wasn't sure, is an addendum needed in general for only when dealing with financial aid? I'm not sure, Sydney, which addendum. We are not financial aid, so you would have to ask them specific questions. There is no addendum to our application, but there may be a financial aid addendum, but you will have to ask them that question directly. I don't want to give you bad information about financial aid. They have their own process. Any other questions? All right, great. Well, thank you everybody very much for attending. I certainly hope that we'll see your application soon. And we're very appreciative that you all took time out of what I'm assuming was a busy day to spend it with us. We're always very honored about that. So have a great night. Thank you for attending, and we will hopefully hear from you all soon. Thanks, everyone.